Karen dug up my ranch without rights. Police hauled her off. Judge gave me everything. The Montana sun burned high over my 40-acre ranch, a legacy my grandfather carved from sweat and soil. I'm Jack Tully, a man who asks little but expects what's mine to stay mine. That morning, I woke to the scream of machinery tearing through my land. Outside, a backhoe clawed at my pasture, ripping out fences and flattening the earth where my cattle grazed. At the center of it stood Karen Whitaker, my neighbor of 3 years, arms crossed, barking orders at hired men who looked too scared to question her. Her smug grin hit me like a fist. She claimed my land was hers, waving a crumpled deed she'd found in her late uncle's attic. I knew it was a lie. My family's papers were ironclad, filed with the county since 1947. But Karen didn't care. She wanted my water spring, the lifeblood of my ranch, and she'd hired muscle to take it by force. I stormed out, shouting for her to stop. She laughed, called me a stubborn fool who didn't know his place. Her workers hesitated, but she snapped, "Keep digging." My blood boiled. I grabbed my shovel, not to fight but to mark my ground. The air crackled with tension, dust swirling as the backhoe roared. I called the sheriff, my voice shaking with rage. Karen didn't flinch. She taunted me, saying her lawyer would bury me in court. Her confidence was a blade, but I stood firm, knowing the truth was on my side. Sheriff Daniels arrived with his deputy, their boots crunching the torn earth. Karen's smirk faltered as Daniels demanded her proof. She thrust the deed at him, but her hands shook. The sheriff's eyes narrowed. "This looks forged, ma'am," he said, voice low. Karen's face drained of color. She stammered, claiming her uncle's word was gold. But Daniels wasn't buying it. He cuffed her, her protests echoing as they led her to the squad car. The workers dropped their tools, muttering apologies, and fled. My ranch lay in ruins, but I felt a flicker of hope. Justice might still breathe. Then came the twist. Old Man Carter, a reclusive neighbor who'd watched from his porch, shuffled over. He was a ghost in our community, rarely seen, but his eyes held a story. "I knew Karen's uncle," he rasped. "He was a conman, sold fake deeds to half the county in the 60s. She's his kin, all right, same snake's blood." Carter's words hit like thunder. Karen wasn't just stumbled on a lie. She'd built her life on her family's fraud, banking on our small community's trust to bury the truth. His testimony would be my weapon, but it also cracked my anger open to pity. Karen wasn't just greedy. She was a product of her own broken roots. The court date was a reckoning. Karen's lawyer spun tales of her innocence and grief, painting me as a bully. But the judge, a no-nonsense woman named Clara Holt, wasn't swayed. My deeds held up, backed by county records and Carter's damning account. The forged deed was shredded in court, its ink exposed as modern under forensic light. Karen's face crumpled as the gavel fell. She was fined for fraud and trespass, ordered to pay restitution. I got everything me land, her legal fees, even her spring, which she'd coveted. The courtroom was silent, but I felt no joy. Victory tasted like dust. Back at the ranch, I walked the scarred fields alone. The trenches were filled, but the wounds lingered. Karen was gone, her house dark, her name a cautionary tale. Carter's words haunted me. She'd been so sure of her right, so blind to her wrong. I wondered if I'd have fought as hard in her shoes, chasing a warped dream of justice. The community whispered, split on her. Some cheered her downfall. Others pitied her desperation. Couldn't decide. My land was mine again, but at what cost to our fragile trust? The spring still flows, clear and steady. I rebuilt the fences, but I keep Carter's story close, a reminder that even the guilty carry their own warped truths. I stare at the wooden signpost where someone maybe me-nailed that note. Karen's greed tore this ranch apart. Will justice prevail? It did, but it left me hollow. What do you think? Was justice served? Or did this fight expose deeper cracks in our community's trust?